Storytelling in gaming is a pretty hard thing to pull off. Compared to other genres, gaming has one problem. Gameplay. I mean, tell me right now, would you rather do this? Or would you rather do this? Getting people to care about your story is a pretty damn hard thing to do. Especially when most games have the worst story.
What did you do, Nicole?
The players, on the other hand, are going to reserve judgment.
How's that?
You got all the skill to make a contribution, but the proof will come between the lines. Tonight, time will tell if you can help or not.
Another problem with stories in games, and this is just a me problem, but I suffer from an incredible disease called Goopy Goblin Brain. And a great man known as Naked Jakey, well, he'll tell you about this horrible disease.
Why you whispering into the mic?
Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain basically means that you have little to no patience for anything that isn't fun or engaging second-to-second gameplay. You know, the type of monotonous shit that more and more games have that take away control from the player just to service some mediocre-ass story while you just sit there being like, okay, but can we get back to the fun part where I blow up cars? That's Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain.
So, what am I getting at? The title of the video, silly, it's about Persona 4.
Holy moly.
You see, Persona 4 is a game I never thought I would play. A JRPG with social sim elements and anime? I don't think I'll just stick to Call of Duty. Persona 4 is a pretty simple game on the basic level. The player-named protagonist is a high school student who moved into the countryside from the city of a year ago during his year-long stay. Okay, for real, let's actually get a little serious and start talking about the plot of this game. Persona 4's plot is definitely a lot more simplified compared to Persona 3
More like Stupe, Ace.
and 5's plot.
What did you wish for at the shrine, Senpai?
But I'll do my best to simplify it as much as I can. Okay, so basically the game starts out with you being this cool gamer guy. Basically, he's from the big city and he's moving into the small city. The game starts off by telling you that you are going to be living there for an entire year. The first 3 hours of this game is really just a basic introduction to a lot of the basic characters. You go to school for a few days and you make a few friends. Yippee yay, that's so cool. Once you get to know these characters a little bit, one of them brings up a very big, heavy plot point throughout the entire game, which is called the Midnight Channel. One night, the main protagonist is having a hard time sleep, so a channel comes on at midnight. He looks at it and he decides, oh man, I guess I'm gonna put my hand up to the TV. But unexpectedly, his hand goes through the TV. The next day, he decides to tell his new friends about this incredible phenomenon that he experienced, and obviously they completely write him off and think he's an absolute loser.
Weird voices aside, what was that about getting sucked into your TV? Were you that tired last night?
He decides to show them that this is true and that he actually did stick his hand through the TV. So he brings them to a store and he sticks his hand through the TV right in front of them.
Oh yeah, what kind of TV do you...
Huh? Something wrong, Yosuke?
Is his arm in the TV?
So, after they all see that, they all start panicking, and one of them bumps into the other one, and they all fall through the TV. Basically, they are transported into a new world called the TV world. The protagonist ends up awakening to his inner power called Persona, And, well, look at that. No way. The title's called Persona. Wow, guys, that's pretty clever. So after the main character and his group of gamers return to the real world, one of the character's friends ends up going missing. What ends up happening is that that character appears on the Midnight Channel, and these characters use their ginormous brains, and they're like, whoa, they must be inside the TV world. So, whoop-de-doo, they go adventuring in the TV world to go find that person. What ends up happening is that this game finds a huge castle, and this castle is a dungeon. What a dungeon is that it is that person's inner suppressed thoughts taken physical form. After the gang gets to the top of the dungeon, they end up seeing that person, but they see a complete copy of that person next to them.
Oh, is this scoring a hot stud?
This copy of a person is called a shadow. Now, a shadow is someone's inner suppressed thoughts taken into a human form. If a person can confront their shadow and accept that this is them, they are able to gain a persona. But this individual is not able to accept that at first,
No!
and then obviously that's where the first boss fight of the game happens. And after the boss fight, this person accepts it, and then boom, they're given a persona. Oh my goodness, no way. That's the basic plot of the game.
So be a good man until then.
Whoa! Ow! What the
Basically, rinsing and repeating for around 50 hours, obviously gaining new members and being introduced to new characters along the way. Now, I understand that this sounds like a pretty serious and kind of boring plot, but it's definitely the exact opposite of this. Because Persona 4 definitely does not take itself seriously in
What
a
does
lot
it
of
mean to
regards.
glomp somebody?
A lot of the characters in the game are definitely not serious, and they just act like normal high schoolers just trying to have a fun time. Obviously, the game definitely does have its serious moments. Towards the end, it really happens, but really in the beginning and the middle of the game, it is just a lot of goofy, funny stuff going on. Now, the other part of the game is the JRPG dungeon crawling section where you go into the TV world and you're trying to save a new person who will be potentially your new teammate. And this is where I really have to put in big, uppercase, italicized, bold letters. Persona 4 is a JRPG. And JRPGs have been famously called menu simulators.
It's tombstone for you, little homie. We all gonna lay roses on your coffin. Cause your career is R.I.P. You're done. You're over.
Now, the dungeons in Persona 4 are definitely an acquired taste. Some people look at the dungeons after 5 minutes and get bored.
I'm not sure about that one. I don't know if that checks out.
While others can spend hundreds and hundreds of hours playing it. And yes, JRPGs are not for everybody, but I think if you take a chance, you're going to be humbly surprised with how good this game is.
What the hell are you two doing?
At the end of the day, Persona 4 is a game I hold really close to my heart. The characters in the story just blew me out of the water, and the investigation team really felt like a real group of friends. While the game does take a more comedic tone, it knows when it has to be serious, and it doesn't sacrifice its core message in the comedic moments. Persona 4 is about accepting yourself,
who I really
and
am.
doing so can be a hard thing. Persona 4 is a roller coaster of emotions, and once those credits roll, it really leaves an impact.